Welcome to the Everyday Creative Podcast. We are two creatives that will discuss our own creative journeys, mental health, and a little bit of everything in between. Oh yeah, we're married too. Thanks for joining us.
Welcome back to the Everyday Creative Podcast. I'm Camaryn.
And I'm Bryce.
And we're your hosts. And we're on episode 4.
We are. We made it to episode 4.
I wonder, what number episode will we get to where we'll stop saying what episode we're on?
I don't think we'll ever stop because...
We'll be like, we're on episode 225.
We're on season 17, episode 22.
Because I feel like we have to say what episode we're on. Because it's like, wow, we've made it to episode 4. But like, what episode do we get to where we're finally like, it doesn't matter what episode we're on. We've done too many already. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So,
just jumping right into it.
All right.
What kind of creative were you this week?
I don't think I was much of a creative this week. It ebbs and flows for me, so it's probably gonna switch every other week. I don't know. This week was just kind of nothing interesting happened, you know? So yeah, not a big creative. I feel like my mental health was a little
all over the place.
All over the place this week. There were some days where it was great because part of that is it was really warm this week. And then there are some days where, there's just a lot of thoughts flowing through my head. So what about you?
I would say, again, I was kind of a busy creative, but something I thought about earlier when thinking about how I'd answer this question, I think I'm a confused creative. Nice. I'm kind of confused right now for the fact that last night we watched La La Land.
Yes.
The Academy Award winner La La Land.
From what year?
2016.
It came out in
2016, but it was awarded in 2017.
Yeah.
It was called for Best Picture, but it didn't win. That's a whole thing. You got to look that up on YouTube. But yeah. I'm kind of confused. Before watching it with you, I was kind of iffy on it. I knew that it was good and I liked it, but I didn't remember why really. And then we watched it last night and the first half just loses me. Yeah. I was kind of out of it. But then the second half really pulled me in. So I'm just confused on why I like it.
Your thought, yeah, it is kind of like confusing when you think about it, because I'm pretty sure I watched it before when it had come out, but I don't remember a lot of it. So whenever we watched last night, I was like, oh, I don't remember this happening, but I remember other parts well. So I don't know.
And it's mislabeled.
Yes,
people call it they've never called it a musical, like the people that made it.
Yeah.
But the talk around the movie is that it's a musical. It's not a musical.
It's not.
It's a showbiz drama, I found out last night. Yeah,
because we were in like the first hour, and you've mentioned this before in the pod, but I love musicals, and I was like, what is this song? It's not moving the story along. Yeah. It has no purpose. And musicals, the songs move the story along. And then I'd be like, well, there should be another musical number right here if it was a true musical, because it would be like you go for a long time without getting another musical number. And then you were looking up some information.
Because I was just taken out of the first half.
And then, wait, what did they call it?
A showbiz drama.
So like inspired by old Hollywood. Yeah. And as soon as you know that, the whole movie changes.
So much better.
Yeah, it completely... This isn't a La La Land review, but I guess we're just kind of
That's why I'm just confused. But it looks beautiful. It sounds beautiful. It's just it ends beautifully. Yeah. I love how it's written. It's just, I was very confused, and I guess I'm less confused now.
Yeah.
But I do like it.
Yeah.
That's the end of that.
Yeah. So that's why you're confused.
That's just why I'm confused.
Yeah. Well, so just last night, not the rest of the week?
Yeah, just last night.
Okay.
It's bleeding
How were you the rest of the week, though?
Fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you feel like this week just kind of like flew by?
This week was weird. I was kind of on the edge of my seat the entire week.
Yeah,
and
I don't remember what happened.
Monday through Wednesday, I don't really remember anything that happened. Wait, Monday through Tuesday, I don't remember. Wednesday, I vaguely remember. Thursday was like an anxiety nightmare. Yeah. And then Friday, it was a pretty good day Friday.
Yeah.
Friday's but also yesterday. Confusing.
Because of love.
Yes. So that's it.
Yeah. I would say this past week, I just feel like it was one of those weeks that was really quick. So you didn't really get a chance to like sit in it and create or do anything like that. How do you feel like your mental health was this past week?
It was about the same as the week before.
Yeah.
It was kind of all over the place in the middle, but I feel like we're doing okay right now.
Good. I feel like it was better.
Yeah.
Cool. So I don't really have a story this week, but this morning I was doing some scrolling, which we'll get into, but I don't know if you have heard the updates about the royal family.
Oh, about
scandal.
How Kate Middleton doesn't have hands.
So for those of you who know me, and for those of you who don't know me personally, that sounded like you were about to give like a maid of honor speech. For those of you who know me, and for those of you who don't, I'm Camaryn. Sister of the bride. Yeah. And I am very interested in the royal family. I wouldn't say I'm obsessed.
You used to be obsessed. Calling you out.
I used to be even more interested, but I think there haven't really been a ton of stuff after the whole like Meghan drama until now.
Oh boy.
So I did some research.
On the photograph?
On the whole situation.
Okay.
Because there's quite a few things surrounding this situation, and I thought I'd update you.
I would love
and everybody else. But I'm just saying that I'm just looking it up from like news, magazines. So if I say anything that's wrong.
Are you checking your sources?
I don't think anybody.
Using .org,
when it
not
comes to
.com?
the royal family, I don't think anybody checks their sources. Yeah. They just say whatever they want. So in January. So the last time that Kate was seen in public was in December of 2023.
Last year.
Yeah.
Okay.
So because in January she had some health issues, and so she like undergoes whatever the word is. She had surgery, and the royal family made a statement that she would not be seen again in public due to these health issues until Easter.
Okay.
So as of now, she has not been seen in public, minus like a few profile pictures of her profile in a car next to William. So in the UK, Mother's Day was the same day as the Oscars.
Yeah.
Right? So a week ago.
I
don't know. March has been going by so fast.
It's all running together.
So she posts a photo with her children.
Okay.
And this is the photo that's in question.
Yes, the crazy
because
photo.
It's highly edited.
Not well either.
Yes. Possibly, I've seen some videos where it's possibly not even an actual photo, but it's pieces from other photos put together.
It's like a compilation photo.
Yes, I saw a video that her face is apparently the exact same as another picture that she had. Yikes. But then like the other argument is also it is her face. So it's going to look the same. And she smiles like one way.
Yeah.
So.
But it's not AI, right?
No, I think not that I've seen.
Yeah, I've seen it debunked.
No, because they put it out into the.
Yeah.
So, but I believe it's just extremely photoshopped. So the question is, where is Kate? What's wrong? And what is the royal family not telling us? That's what people want to know. Because I'm just giving you the information. I'm going to give you my 2 cents later. But that's what people are. They feel like the royal family's hiding something from them. Where is she? What's wrong with her? Why do we have this highly edited, possibly not even a real photo?
I feel like the royal family is just hiding things in general, always.
But my question is like, I don't think anybody would fault her if she like decided to post photos for Mother's Day of like her when her kids were like babies.
Yeah.
Like, why did it have to be a current photo? But then I guess people would have questioned that. So anyways.
People were just looking to question.
So there's some theories out there. And so one of the theories is that could it be her health?
Quite possible.
It's possible that she's still recovering, that it was something maybe more major than they let on, or it led to something more major, and she just can't like get out of bed, or she doesn't look like herself, or she's lost weight or something, whatever. But you also have to put into perspective that the royal family has historically gone out into public when their health wasn't great, like Queen Elizabeth, Diana with her eating disorder, things like that. And obviously every time Kate gives birth, that's something that I can never get over with the royal family is like Kate gives birth and then she has to be all pretty out there looking great. No. All right. So, the royal family usually shows up even if they're not 100%. But obviously, so if that's not an actual picture of her, something's going on. So these conspiracy theories are blowing up the internet, social media, whatever. Now, mind you, a lot of these people who have the theories are Americans, from what I've seen.
Because we don't have anything better to do, right?
Well, I think Americans love a good conspiracy theory. We love a good conspiracy theory, especially if it has nothing to do with America.
Yes.
But when we have conspiracy theories for America, it can be very divisive. But when it comes to like the royal family, where it really doesn't impact us, it's fun to have conspiracy
Everybody
theories.
rallies behind it.
Even though I don't really know exactly how the British people feel about this. I don't really know if they care, to be honest.
Let's get a British person on the pod.
Yeah. Honestly,
Let's get Christopher Nolan on and ask him that question.
Yeah. Do you... What's happening with
Aside
Kate?
from your award-winning films and your illustrious career, how do you feel about the royal family?
So, okay. Many believe that the edited photo is related to a rumored affair between Prince William and someone named Lady Sarah Rose Hanbury. I don't know.
Sounds very British.
I feel like the only way you can say that is like with a British accent to pronounce it. Yeah, but I was like, I think we'd be like, the American pronunciation would be very different. So
Hanbury.
So yeah, exactly. I didn't want to say that because that would be okay. So in 2019, we've like lost so many people right now. They're like, we don't care about the royal family, but I do. Okay, so in 2019, this rumor surfaced that Rose and William were having an affair. Okay. So 2019.
Was it credible?
I'm going to get there.
Okay.
But 2019, that's like 5 years ago. Okay?
Whoa.
However,
just first of all,
there has not been any proof or reason to believe that this is true. Okay. So it's kind of a far-fetched rumor. Yeah. Doesn't really have a lot of facts to back it up, other than this person, Sarah Rose Hanbury, has some relation to the royal family. So would be in the same social settings, but there's no proof that there's an affair. But now it's resurfaced due to Kate's disappearance, is what they're calling it. Even though the royal family literally said she wasn't going to be out in public for months.
Another week or so.
So, but many are connecting the two. However, why has these rumors resurfaced about an affair? Well, Stephen Colbert, right? That's how you pronounce his name.
Love Stephen.
On Tuesday, wrapped up his monologue by talking about the Kate conspiracy theories and brought up the rumored affair from 2019. And that made the internet go crazy. So basically, all of these theories about it having to do with an affair is because of a late night talk show host and comedian, like as their main source for the rumors, who brought something up from 2019.
Love that.
Like, he's the reason that people are speculating it's because of an affair.
Oh, man. Which we can kind of bring that back in the question later.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Like, what? He's not even British, is he? Like,
it'd be different if it was like John Oliver bringing it up, but it's Stephen Colbert.
Yeah.
Very, very American.
So I have some thoughts and some questions.
Okay.
Number one, like I said, Kate's disappearance, I'm using air quotes for our listeners, was stated like that she wouldn't be out in public because she'd be recovering until Easter. Well, it's not Easter yet, so we shouldn't expect her to be out and about. Maybe even, in fact, the royal family is trying to do better and saying, oh, she needs time to recover versus we're going to put her back into the spotlight. Like, maybe they're actually trying to do better. I don't know.
Yeah.
Second, I can understand why people would relate an affair to like Kate taking a step back.
Yeah.
But I don't understand how that relates to her having an edited photo with her children. Like, the affair is not going to keep her from seeing her kids or whatever. I saw a theory, though, that some believe that it's because she knows that William's popularity as king is based on her being queen. And so she's trying to like leverage that against William by doing this like scandal with the edited photo. But I'm like, the only person it makes look bad is her.
Well, did you see she posted a thing where she said
she apologized?
She apologized. She was like, sorry, I'm just like an amateur photographer. It's like
she's like, I just like got carried away with that. So I'm like, she's the one who had to make the apology statement. So it doesn't make sense that she's trying to make William look bad because it only really impacts her. And let me see where I'm at in my information here. But yeah, so I don't understand how that would be a connection. So I don't know what my official theory is.
Yes.
But I feel like it would have to have more to do with her health. Because in my mind, if it is true, because there's no basis for this rumor. But if the facts are true where William's popularity is based on
her as queen, people are going to want to know that she's healthy at a young age. And if she's not looking great, you know, if she would have posed in a picture with her kids and had lost a lot of weight in her face, people would be like, oh my gosh, what's wrong with Kate? Right? And so it's like, I would understand why maybe she would try to enhance herself to look a little bit more healthy if she's not. Yeah. So that she can keep people from getting concerned. But the royal family has not yet put out a statement about the rumors about the affair or anything else. And so a lot of people are comparing this whole situation to like the Charles, Camilla, and Diana situation. But all I say is that I hope the royal family learns and actually answers some questions, because I know they like to keep like a distance because they're the royals. But also, if you don't explain, people are going to find an explanation and they're going to find it from people who don't know the truth. Yeah. So anyways, that's your update for the royal family. That is the royal family conspiracy hour on the Everyday Creative podcast.
So if that helps anybody learn more about the royal family, that's what's happening right now with Kate and the photos, and people are taking it and they're running with it. But we'll see in a couple weeks with Easter if she comes out and about and if everything's fine. And then maybe it just really was. She was just feeling like insecure that day and was like, I'm going to fix my fingers or whatever she did.
It's so much.
Yeah. But who knows? But the other thing is, I have a hard time believing she did it. Like, don't they have people for that?
Well, if somebody hired did that, my goodness, fire them immediately. That was so bad.
Yeah. So,
but yeah, do you know what this reminds me of? John Mulaney went on the Seth Meyers show a long time ago, back when he was on drugs and all that, and he did like a royal family conspiracy segment You should watch it. If you're at home, watch it on YouTube. He's in a trench coat with sunglasses. That was before he got sober.
Yeah.
But that's what this reminds me of. Anyway.
Yeah. So, do you have a conspiracy? Do you have a theory?
I have a conspiracy theory for a lot of things, but not this.
Not this. I think we're blowing it out of proportion here.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's just the health thing.
Yeah.
She's probably not wanting to post a photo in which she doesn't look 100% because people would talk, but now they're talking
about rumors, rumored affairs. Who started that?
Steven. But she probably thought, or the royal family, whoever put it out.
Yeah.
They were just thinking, oh, people are scrolling. Nobody's going to ever zoom in.
I'm not going to lie. I've seen the photo, and if you just see it from a distance, I don't really notice anything.
Yeah. I mean, who has the time to zoom in?
There's a lot of people who have the time to stare at royal family photos.
They're like,
I'm not that crazy.
The zipper's not lining up correctly. Yeah. I don't know. But it's crazy.
Well,
moving into our fan favorite section.
Are we gonna say that? Are you gonna say that every time?
I'm gonna say that every single time.
Yes. Lights, Camaryn, action. And today we are reviewing a movie that just came out called Arthur the King.
It is not to be confused with King Arthur.
Different. Very different.
Very different.
So I have a little bit of a description for everyone here. If you haven't heard about this movie, honestly, if we hadn't seen Dune, we probably wouldn't have heard about this movie.
They have not promoted it very much.
Nope, but it's in the previews in the theaters, so that's how we saw it. Okay, so here's the description of the movie Arthur the King. Over the course of 10 days and 435 miles, an unbreakable bond is forged between pro-adventure racer Michael Light and a scrappy street dog companion dubbed Arthur. Based on an incredible true story, Arthur the King follows Light, desperate for one last chance to win, as he convinces a sponsor to back him in a team of athletes for the Adventure Racing World Championship in the Dominican Republic. As the team is pushed to their outer limits of endurance in the race, Arthur redefines what victory, loyalty, and friendship truly mean. So if you haven't figured it out already, if you didn't hear, this is a dog movie.
It's a dog movie.
I love dog movies. Okay, you had some facts, right?
Yes, I have some fast facts. Arthur the King was directed by Simon Kellen Jones. The screenplay was written by Michael Brandt, adapted from the book by Michael Linnord. It stars Mark Wahlberg as Michael Light, Simu Liu as Leo.
Woo!
My boy. He's my celebrity crush. Juliet Rylance as Helen, Michael's wife. Natalie Emmanuel as Olivia, and I don't know if it's Ali Suleiman or Ollie as Chick. It currently has a 64% on Rotten Tomatoes with critics and a 95% audience score. So 95%
of people who watch it
like it
love
that weren't critics. It has a 2.9 on Letterboxd.
Fair.
That's middle of the road. $19 million was the budget. The movie changes the name from the real guy. The real guy's name is Michael Linnord, the guy that wrote the book.
Oh.
They changed it to Michael Light. Anyway.
You actually did just spoil. We can't put that in. Because the whole reason they, think about that scene where they're,
Oh, yeah. Whoops. I'll bleep that out. And we'll just put in I just spoiled the movie.
Yeah.
Anyway, so crazy though, right? They adapt. This is an adapted work.
An adapted, yes.
They took some liberties.
Yeah.
We saw this movie because it's a dog movie.
Yeah, Bryce, why did we see this movie? Because you wanted to, right?
I can honestly say that if it weren't for you, I probably would not have ever seen this movie.
And you would have been missing out on such a heartwarming story.
Yes. I would have missed out on this wonderful movie. It's kind of crazy.
Okay.
I enjoyed it once I had to get past this is like one of those movies.
What do you mean by that?
So
Bryce is going to like bite his tongue. Is that the saying? Bite his tongue.
Yeah.
Whatever it is. So many times in the next like 10 minutes.
It's kind of hard for me because it's, as we discussed last week or the week before, it's okay to have movies that are just for fun and just to consume.
Yeah, you don't have to analyze
There
this
is
movie.
no critical analysis. There are no hidden themes. It's right out there.
Yeah.
They serve it to you on a platter.
Yeah.
It's like, here is the main theme.
Well.
But that's okay. And I love Simu. I love Mark Wahlberg. He's kind of like the great value version of Matt Damon for me, though. But like, come at me. Apparently, though,
Aren't there gonna be some people who listen to that don't know what Great Value is?
Oh, Great Value is like a knockoff brand, like that cheapy brand.
It's like Giant brand.
Giant brand or Walmart brand.
Anyways, that just made me think.
Anyway,
Sorry.
This is gonna be
This is gonna be such a chaotic podcast of just random thoughts.
That's kind of where we're at right now.
Yeah, that's just today.
Anyway, Simu, great. Mark, great. Everybody was great. It's just, I rate these dog movies higher than Hallmark movies. Like,
I would hope.
Like, Hallmark movies are like bottom of the barrel for me. Like,
and he just offended half of our. No, I'm just kidding.
No, like they're bottom of the barrel. Like, not good at all. But these low budget adventure dog movies, they're fun. I put them in the same category as like an Adam Sandler, like some of Adam Sandler's films. Like easy watches, heartwarming.
Good movie night.
Good movie night for the family.
Yeah.
That being said, the cinematography is like non-existent. The sound is fair, but I enjoyed it because I was with you. And it was a heartwarming story, and it didn't do some of the things I thought it was going to do.
Yeah.
So,
well, I will say, since we're kind of critiquing it right now a little bit.
Yeah, I didn't mean this to turn into a critique.
I will say that 5 minutes in, I was like, oh no, this is not gonna be good. And I was like, I just dragged Bryce here. I know he came willingly, but also it took some puppy dog eyes for me to really get him to feel excited about it.
Took some puppy dog eyes to make me go see the puppy movie.
Exactly. And so I was like, I at least hoped it would be like pretty good for the genre that it is.
It was serviceable.
But 5 minutes in, I was like, uh-oh.
Yeah,
I looked over at Bryce and I was like, oof.
Because the focus puller was missing focus on shots.
For some reason, the first like 5 to 10 minutes, honestly, the first like quarter to a third of the movie was a little questionable.
It's a 2-hour movie.
Yeah.
And the middle hour is really solid.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like the beginning, the first quarter is a little questionable. That middle section, I was feeling hooked into the story. I really enjoyed that part of the movie. And then the ending, from an objective standpoint, it's better than the first quarter. Yes. But it still wasn't as good, which we can get into why we think that is. But I will say that it got me emotionally.
You were crying over there.
Okay, so here's the thing. Remember how we said the first podcast that I don't cry in movies or watching TV or whatever? There is an exception to that. If there is a dog at any point in that story, there's a possibility I will not just tear up.
Your lips were quivering.
But fully bawl my eyes out. Yeah. And I did that. There were multiple times of like feeling, I love dogs and I just get emotionally connected to these dog characters. So yeah, it's definitely not like an Oppenheimer level Oscar worthy movie, but it is a great Maybe we need to add an Oscar category
for best heartwarmer.
Best heartwarming movie. Like, best feel-good movie, because it is a feel-good movie. I walked out of that, and I didn't feel like I had to have existential crisis.
No.
But I was just like, wow, can we get a dog sometime?
You know, that's what this is a heartwarmer.
It's a feel-good.
It's a feel-good movie. Probably won't win awards.
Yeah.
But people got paid, gave people jobs, and it made us feel good.
And I'm sure it was fun to make. I talked about all the things I had on my notes, really, but like, I'm sure it was fun to make. Simu adopted a dog out of it because it was there are a lot of dogs, like stray dogs in the movie, because at least we know that the movie was set into the Dominican Republic and there's a lot of stray dogs. I assume the same with Ecuador, maybe. But so I guess one of the extra dogs Simu ended up adopting, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just like, it really just warms your heart.
I also saw that they did their own stunts. So
cool.
all of the things that they did were real. Even the zipline scene, which is in the trailer, the zipline scene is real. They did that.
Like that, like,
yeah.
It was, nope.
I mean, I'm sure they had safety nets.
Yeah.
But they did it.
But that dog deserves an Oscar.
Well, we talked about right after the fact that they should add a new category in the Oscars for best animal performance. Because
the whole internet went crazy for the dog from Anatomy of a Fall. Messy. But this dog performed.
Killed it. Yeah.
Like he barked and growled and showed his teeth in moments. He had like a limp in other moments. He like had like these really sweet moments with Mark Wahlberg's character and like gave him the puppy dog eyes, like held his paw out to him. Like all of it just felt like this dog had a whole personality and it's a dog that was full on acting. It
wasn't CGI dogs.
No.
Because there was a movie a couple years ago, I think it was called Call of the Wild or something, had Harrison Ford, and the dog was 100% CGI. No real dog. This was real dogs.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing too is like sometimes when you have these dog movies, especially because there's some dog movies where there's like a narrator that narrates what the dog's thinking, so that like changes things. But like sometimes when you have these dog movies, you can tell that they're being like, somebody's giving them commands behind the camera, and you can kind of even see their eyes are like looking off to see, like, if you know dogs, you know that they're trained to do certain things, especially like as acting dogs. But like, so sometimes you can kind of be like, oh, that's cute, but you don't feel like it's actually happening in that scene because you know, you can tell somebody's giving that dog commands. This dog though, like, it felt like I was actually watching a dog and his owner because of the way that they were, well, you know, kind of owner, by the way that they were like interacting with each other. You could see that in their interactions. And I'm very impressed because I don't know how do you train a dog to convey emotion? But I feel like this dog did. Like, give it credit, right?
No, the dog deserves two thumbs up. Yeah.
Like, the dog conveyed emotion. How do you train a dog to do that?
I have no idea.
Dogs kind of do it naturally when when they know you, but like, how do you? So that part, I will say, I am very impressed by the dog. So if you love dog movies, go see this movie. We won't spend very much longer on breaking down. Oh, what's your final review?
In a out of 5 world, I think I'd give it a 2.5, but I would really like to give it like a 2.7.
Okay.
It's not quite a 3 for me, but it's...
Well, I'm giving it a 3. So,
oh, really? Not higher?
No, just a 3. Okay. I think that's a fair. So our at like, you know, the middle of 2.7 and 3 would be 2.9. So that's what Letterboxd has it as. So, but yeah, we won't go too much more into talking about how great a dog is, even though I would for the rest of the podcast.
But for a dog movie,
for
a feel-good movie, it was great.
So we're going to get into our main segment for today. I think this is the fastest we've ever gotten to our main segment. But first, let's do
The random
generated
question.
Woo!
Sponsored by Vitamin Water. I wish.
We hope. One day. Okay. Give me a number.
Hey Siri, give me a number between 1 and 50. 41. I feel like we've done 41 before.
No,
No?
I haven't.
Oh, okay.
What reality show do you think you'd be the best fit for?
The best reality show.
No, a reality show you'd be the best fit for, not what's the best reality show. I know which one for you. Not anymore, but you could have been.
Oh. Interesting. So there's two that come to mind. But I'm probably missing some. American Ninja Warrior.
Oh, I forgot about all of them.
Or like the Iron Chef.
No, that's not what I was thinking.
What were you thinking?
I was thinking if you weren't married, you could be on The Bachelor. You'd be a fan favorite bachelor because you'd actually be nice.
I would be nice. I'd turn it on.
And I was gonna say, prior to us being together, it wasn't uncommon for a lot of girls to crush on you.
You know, I don't mean
silence.
I don't mean to toot my own horn, but I feel like I could nail The Bachelor.
I think you could.
I couldn't know.
The first Asian bachelor. Has there been an Asian
I don't know.
bachelor?
I don't think so.
The first Asian bachelor will not be Bryce Mentzer because he's married.
No,
but,
yeah. No, I don't think so. But maybe.
But maybe.
Okay. What's yours?
But I could see the Iron Chef. You would.
Is that what it's called?
Something like that. Or like Chopped or like whatever.
There's a ton of them.
Some food one. But also, do you feel like... But also, whenever we have... You love to cook.
Yeah.
But whenever we have people coming over...
Oh, I get so stressed.
You get so stressed. So I feel like you don't cook well under pressure.
No. Gordon Ramsay would kill me.
Yeah. And you could do maybe the Ninja Warrior one. But you know what you couldn't do? Survivor.
Way to call me out.
Because speaking of this, the dog movie,
Yeah.
Bryce was like, man, I kind of really want to do one of these adventure races. And I was like, there's spiders, there's snakes, there's...
It's not the physicality I couldn't do. It's just the nature.
Yeah.
If it was indoors.
Exactly. If you didn't have all the other, like, rain,
Yes.
all the outdoor...
Yes. If they had
factors.
an indoor version
Yeah.
that went 400 and some miles, I would totally kill
Yeah.
that.
But okay, so...
What about for you?
Honestly, the first one that popped to my mind was the Kardashians. Because I'm a sister and I know how to argue with sisters. That was the first thing that popped to my mind because I completely forgot about all the like competition ones.
Yeah.
But I don't think I'd be good at those. So
How about The Voice? You'd kill The Voice.
no, I wouldn't.
Yeah, you would.
I would be so anxious every week. I could be a coach on The Voice.
I mean, I could be a coach on The Voice too. Just sit back and be, yeah, no, you don't have it.
Yeah.
Nope.
I very much enjoy watching The Voice.
Yeah.
I will say this season of The Voice, if you're a voice watcher out there, tell me that it feels weird so far. Like they're turning for people who I'm like, should you? And then they don't turn for people where I'm like, you could have. And then no one's really getting four-chair turns. So it should be an interesting season. But that's besides the point. I kind of forgot about those as well. But I don't think I could. That would probably actually be the best fit for me, but I'd probably be a little nervous.
You'd have more fun than the Kardashians.
So I don't know what it means. Would I be like with the Kardashians or would it be like my own reality TV show like the Kardashians? Because that one's a little weird because it's not a competition one. It's about, people who are already.
Kim and Cameron take Chambersburg.
By the way, have never watched the Kardashians, so I'm just kind of putting it out there. I've watched bits and pieces, but...
Would it surprise you to know that I have watched the Kardashians?
No.
I liked Courtney and Khloe Take Miami. Mm-hmm. That was a nice spin-off.
I could be a host on a lot of reality TV shows, though. I would think I'd be a good host on some reality TV
I want to
shows.
take the Bachelor guy's job.
Yeah, I want to be the host on, like, The Bachelor. which would be weird because I'm a girl. But are there girl hosts on The Bachelorette?
I have never watched The Bachelorette.
Neither have I. I've never watched The Bachelor. I've only watched The Golden Bachelor, and I loved it. Well, sort of. It kind of also made me cringe. But besides the point, that was our question.
That was a random question
so
generator.
we said basically all of them at this point. All right. So today we thought it would be relevant for us to talk about short form content, social media, TikTok, and TikTok-esque videos, because there's some conversation around whether TikTok should be banned or not. So thought we'd talk a little bit about that today.
Yes, we won't get too deep into the politics of the TikTok ban, but I do want to say that I did some light research on it. Yes, it passed in the House or the Senate somewhere, but it's not really a TikTok ban. It's to get the Chinese company to sell TikTok to an American company.
Okay.
They're not trying to ban free speech and all that. They're not trying to ban TikTok.
So it's kind of
it's a security issue.
Misled of what the...
Because they fear that China's using all the information for propaganda and to negative uses.
Yeah.
The same thing happened a couple years ago with a dating app called Grindr. It was...
That should not be a dating app name. No, whoever came up with that.
So this happened with Grindr a couple years ago, owned by a Chinese company. The government was like, no. The government didn't say no. But there were security issues with that because people's information, private information was out there, and it was... So they had China sell the company to an American company, and people were still grinding. Like, so it's fine. It didn't affect anybody. People still be talking.
Yeah. So first, let's just start off. What is what's our personal relationship or experience with social media?
Yeah, so I started with social media probably in 4th or 5th grade, I'd say.
Bryce Riley.
Because, you'd sign up for Facebook and totally lie about your age. So
I hope your mother's going to watch this.
I know. And there's totally like 5 Bryce Mentzers out there that are me.
That
but
you don't have access to anymore?
Yeah, because they're... Yeah. So that's me. Yeah. So I started out with like Facebook. I think I got MySpace at one time. But I didn't...
Back in the old days.
Yeah, and Instagram was so not cool.
At the time.
That was like the thing that if you weren't allowed to have Facebook, like your parents allowed you to have Instagram. It's just photo sharing. So I think I really started to get social media in like 6th or 7th grade and take it more seriously. And yeah, so then moving on to older Bryce, I like posted some YouTube videos and vlogs and all that stuff.
Are those...
They are gone forever.
Internet?
Well, they're, nothing's ever gone, but they are hard to find.
Somebody
I
on
sure
the other
hope.
side
Please
of
do not
that
find
screen them. Just said challenge accepted.
But to the day,
yeah,
my main social medias that I use: Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. That's about it.
Yeah.
Those are my main 3. I wish I could get rid of all of them, but I would say that Instagram and YouTube are my favorites.
Yeah.
How about you?
So I think it's kind of interesting because we talk about this all the time, but you're only a little bit older than me. But since we're going back to like our school days, you were 2 grades older than me.
Yeah.
And there's actually
there's a huge gap.
There's a big difference between like Bryce's grade and his experience with social media trends, things like that, and my grade. I think if you are a year younger than me, so if you're like 20 right now, so if you were born in
2003. Yeah.
Then you and your class and my class, we can relate a little bit more because like your brother's just a year younger than me, and I feel like I'm like, yeah, that was how my experience was, and you're like, what? Yeah. Too old for that, right? And like, but I think it's interesting because like I don't think people in my grade grew up on like Facebook. I don't think that was their first. Maybe I didn't. I just got Facebook this year. So, and honestly, I was going to say I'm so young, which kind of defeats what I said last podcast. But like, I don't even know how to use Facebook because it's just not for my age range, I guess. But, so I didn't get social media until my 9th grade year of high school. So we weren't allowed to have social media. I had a phone, but we didn't have social media. I mean, I like was on YouTube or whatever. Bless you. Sorry. You good?
Yeah.
Just one and done?
Just one and done.
Okay. So we were like, I would, maybe watch YouTube, but I didn't have like socials type of thing. So the first social media I got was like halfway through 9th grade, and that was Snapchat. You didn't even bring up Snapchat.
Snapchat was so irrelevant to me.
Oh, but it was like my grade's thing. We all Snapchatted.
Yeah.
So, and you would Snapchat, have a conversation while you're Snapchatting, have a conversation in the chats on Snapchat, and then have a conversation in iMessage.
And we wonder why
You wonder why I have like multiple conversations with you at once, right?
Yeah.
So that was like the main form of social media I used throughout high school. Once high school was over, I didn't use it very much, and I don't have it now. Instagram, I got the last day of my 9th grade year and used it, but not a lot. It was at that point very much just posting pictures of your life.
Yeah.
Whatever you decided to do, whereas like Snapchat at the time was more like you post stories about like what was happening in real time type of thing, but Instagram was like, oh, 4th of July photo or like beach photo.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It was like Instagram photos, which like are still a thing, but it's changed a lot. So those were my only 2 forms of social media. I got Twitter in 2020.
I forgot
right
about
before
Twitter.
When did it change?
It just changed recently.
So I got it in 2020. Never once used it.
Oh man, Twitter was the place
that was your
to
place.
be. I had to delete it because it gets me so fired up.
Yeah.
I love Twitter. Well, it's X now,
but I never used it because I was like, I can barely come up with like a sentence in general. How am I supposed to? The worst thing was in high school and college when they were like, this is an assignment where you have to come up with a tweet to summarize the passage you just read. And I was like, can I just write a summary?
You had to do what?
Yeah. No, there were like assignments in school where it would be like, write a tweet, like a 2-sentence tweet or 100, however many words you could write on Twitter or like was the normal that summarized the theme of blank. And it had to be in like a creative way. And I was like, I would rather write a paragraph summary.
And this is why college is not needed and stupid and a waste of money.
But anyways, I don't know if that was in college. That might have been my senior year in high school. I'm not sure. I feel like it was kind of in both, depending on. Nowadays, actually during college, for more than a year, I had deleted all forms of social media, minus like YouTube. I don't know if it's considered kind of, but it's not like I wasn't posting on it. I was just consuming. But yeah, I had already deleted Snapchat by that point. I had deleted Instagram, didn't have Twitter. I deleted that app a long time ago, and then deleted, didn't have Facebook. So basically went off of all socials, specifically Instagram, because that's kind of like my generation's or we're in the same generation, but like my grades thing, my age groups thing. And for over a year because I didn't have it before we started dating, and then I only got it back once we got married, so I could put myself out there in the world as Camaryn Mentzer. But yeah, so that was the best decision I made. Getting it back was maybe not the best decision that I made. I had been before that taking a lot of breaks from social media where I'd take like 2 weeks off, a month off. And I was like, and then I'd go back on and then I'd be like, oh, I just need a break from it. And I was like, why am I doing this? Why don't I just delete it? Like I fully deleted my account. Like my account did not exist. Somebody would have looked me up, they wouldn't have seen anything. So yeah, that was until this past summer.
Yeah.
And then I got Instagram back, which I use the most. Then YouTube, I watch a lot of stuff on YouTube. And then I got Facebook more for like business things. So yeah, that's kind of what I use right now. Do you feel like you have like a healthy relationship with social media right now?
It depends on where my mental health is. I think generally speaking, I have an okay relationship with social media, but we'll get into this in a little bit, but I love podcasts.
Yeah.
And I overconsume podcasts. I've been trying to be more diligent of making my Instagram following smaller, so I'm curating only what I want to see. With YouTube, I'm only watching videos really that I can gain something from. So if it's a podcast, I need to gain something from it. So if that's something about film critique or somebody's opinion on politics or something that I'm gaining a perspective on, more than just meaningless content. I'm not a huge reels or short form content person. I've never been into that. So I don't even click. I don't even click the reels button on Instagram. I just scroll for like.
See, but they get you because it's on the homepage and then there's a reel there and then you're like, oh, let me click into it. And then you just keep scrolling.
So I would say my biggest thing that I need to work on is Facebook Marketplace. I need to not go on Facebook Marketplace.
And Bryce, what do you look for on Facebook Marketplace? Cameras?
Yeah. So it used to be guitar pedals. I'm better now. I've cured that.
I'm in complete control.
I am in complete control of that. I just want, but if I buy one, it's all over.
Yeah.
There goes so much money. But cameras.
You haven't done that.
No, I haven't done that since before we started dating.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's my relationship with social media. I feel like it's decent. I could definitely cut back more.
Yeah.
But I don't feel like. I guess every addicted person wouldn't say that they're addicted, but I don't think I'm addicted.
I am.
Explain. How about your relationship with social media?
I actually don't think I spend, like, what's the average?
I don't know.
Isn't it like 8 hours a day?
That's a lot, but I'm
not
sure it is.
I think mine's like, it's not that bad. But I think it's bad for me.
Yes.
Like on the scale of statistics, maybe not that bad, but the amount of content that my person can handle, I'm over consuming content. So I am addicted to reels and shorts.
This is my confession.
This is my confession. I need to do better. I just think, I don't know if it's just like I'm the way my brain works is just the right type of person to be like, to enjoy that short form content. But yeah, like I used to be worse of getting sucked in, but I still like enjoy the sitting there and watching reels. And I will say the one fun part of that is like me and my sisters send reels to each other. Like I send reels to you, my like brother-in-laws send, we do that type of thing. So that can be fun because sort of, we'll get into that too in a little bit, but it's just kind of like oh, I thought of you when I saw this
Yeah.
and I sent it to you. A lot of my reels, just to put into context, are dog videos, or like vloggers who then make like a short form of something, or food.
Mm-hmm.
Those I actually could keep. I wouldn't mind taking those away, like where they're like making like dessert or something.
Oh yeah.
Decorating a cake. Those are therapeutic. But yeah, I definitely spend more than I should. I think I'm just over consuming content at this point, and I definitely need to cut back. It's the reason that before I started taking breaks from social media, and then why I ended up deleting it, because I was like, I'm taking too much information.
It's overstimulating you.
Yeah, and once you know it, it's like, well, now it's like if I do it again, like if I sit there for a while scrolling, it's like, well, now I just feel bad because I know that I shouldn't have been doing that, but like,
Yeah.
it just kind of sucks you in. So if you're out there and you have the same issue, you're not alone. I know what it's like to be very interested in the reels that people are making, because sometimes they're funny, sometimes they're, but at the end of the day, do they really add value to your life? Probably not. Like I could live without them.
Yeah, I think there was a point in my life where I was addicted to YouTubers. So I loved vloggers.
Yeah.
So Casey Neistat was a huge like hero of mine. So I'd watch his content all the time. And I was pretty addicted to that.
Yeah.
But then got past that.
So I feel like I need to cut back. And maybe by the end of this conversation, I'll have the steps to do that.
Your 10-step plan.
Effectively. Because, yeah. So now that we've talked about our personal experience on social media, how we use it today, how we know we need to improve on it, on our usage of it, what do you feel like, maybe more from an objective standpoint, but also from a personal standpoint, what do you think the pros and cons are of social media, and does the good outweigh the bad?
Oh, that's a really tough question.
Yeah.
So I think there is a lot of good with social media. And I'm speaking more of, whenever I think of the good from social media, this is talking about maybe, what year are we in? 2024? Like 4 to 5 years ago.
Agreed.
I think the pros way outweighed the cons 4 or 5 years ago. If you ask me again right now, I think the cons outweigh the pros. I don't know exactly what the change is. I just know that I think it's the rise of TikTok and short form content.
I was like, I think we know what the change is.
So TikTok came out in 2016, but it didn't really take off until more like 2020, I guess. And then in 2020, Reels became a thing. And in 2020, YouTube Shorts became a thing. And that's when the world exploded with short form vertical content. I think before then, people were addicted to social media because you could scroll endlessly. And the more dangerous part was comparing.
That's what I was going to say. I think, do you want to continue? I was just going to say, I feel like the issues with social media have changed, because I agree. I would have said 4 or 5 years ago that there's a lot of pros to social media, and you just have to be aware of those cons. And I think the biggest thing was, because a lot of what you were seeing was mostly, like if you went on Instagram, what you were seeing was the people you know, who you follow, whose posts are posting, and like influencers, celebrities, if you choose to follow them. And so you're seeing, oh, this person, she's in the same grade as me, or whatever, she got twice as many likes, or she has twice as many followers, or look at all her comments. And so you had to be careful not to seek affirmation from people behind a screen or compare yourself to other people. That was the danger. Now I think it's something very different.
So much worse. I think there were mental health implications back then. In the comparison of, oh, I'm not as good as him, I don't look as good as him, stuff like that.
And people also saying things.
There's
like
a lot
bullying,
of
cyberbullying, but that all is still happening today, but on top of more things that are of concern.
So with the rise of short form content, our brains are now even more trained to process things faster. So I was in the living room the other day and I heard you watching a reel or something. And this isn't like a hate on you, but like,
we know I have an issue.
But like the noise, it was constant. It was so fast and it was changing. It was an overwhelming amount of sound, but that's how it keeps you engaged.
It's it's literally a hit of dopamine.
Which is something I kind of want to talk about just briefly is engagement. People that make this content creators, they're doing it because they can make money off of it. So something that for our own personal lives that's relevant to this is starting this week or next week or whenever I really have time. It's like we need to create thumbnails for this podcast that are more than just like the title of our podcast, because people are going to click on a thumbnail that looks engaging and kind of clickbaity, which is
that's a whole other conversation.
I was watching a video today at the gym of this one content creator that was talking about how whenever he shoots a podcast, they need multiple cameras like we do because people lose interest if it's just a stagnant shot. But if you have like multiple cameras going all at the same time, like that keeps people engaged because we need that constant stimulation. That's not good for the brain.
I would definitely have said that. Well, first, let me just say, I even feel that in my own mind of feeling like I have to have bless you.
I don't know what's up.
Some allergies. But feeling like I sometimes get in these moods where I feel like I need to have that constant kind of entertainment stimulation. And I even find it, which is really bad, whenever like I'm sitting and watching a TV show and I'll I just will like start to scroll and I'm like, I now have like 2 things that I'm watching. And maybe that goes back to the Snapchat of like having 3 conversations going at the same time, and your brain, like our brains were used to having that. But now it's like, and then I sit there and I go, why? There's literally something in front of me that's entertaining me. But because it doesn't have that quick pace, sometimes my brain's seeking that. And so you're training your brain to want that stimulation, and it's not healthy. But I also agree that 4 or 5 years ago, I would have definitely have said that there's pros, because I think part of it was because you were seeing people who you chose to see. And like I made friends through social media.
Me too.
And so it wasn't that social media was a place for community, but it was a point to get to community. So it's like somebody, you'd follow somebody who you see, oh, my friend's following them. Oh, I see that they go here or went to this school or work here or whatever. Oh, we might have similar people in our community, so let me follow them. Oh, they're starting to like my stuff. Let me DM them or like slide up on their story and be like, oh, I love that food or whatever, you know what I mean? And then
that's how you start dating.
but like that's like, no, I do it with like friends too. And it's like, oh, we're connecting on these things. Let's go get coffee. And then now we have community.
Exactly.
And it was moving from the social media. That's literally how we also started becoming friends, because it was like we were in a similar circle, but we never really talked to each other until social media allowed us to get more comfortable. Like seeing each other, communicating with each other, and then we started talking more in person. It was a way to get to friendship. And that is why I think that you would, and then there was business connections that were happening. There were people who were putting out a lot of creative content of photos and videos and things like that. And that were like passion projects that they were like, go check this out. And like, I want to share this with the world. And again, there's a lot of, we already talked about, there are a lot of dangers then too of, is that real life or is it fake? And I do think there has been a little bit of a movement to some extent of, hey, we want to make social media look more real. And there's certain people whose kind of brand, which again, makes them money, to post videos of, hey, look at my like face hair, look at my imperfections, and we're all about being natural and real here, but it's still social media.
But they're still doing that for money. Like,
yeah, exactly. That's what's getting them the attention.
They're still exploiting their person to gain a following.
And so not that if that's what your job is, that's what your job is.
Good for you.
But Bryce is going to say some controversial things here today. But so again, many dangers, but those dangers still are today plus more. And so I think that I would have said, it worked to like talk to people and communicate with people, but I took a year off and that was like, that even happened during short form content, but it wasn't quite had the same effect that it does now. But then when I got social media again, it's like, I don't connect with anybody.
It's really weird because that gap that you took, that year gap, a lot changed.
Yeah, I think so.
In that just short 1 year gap.
I remember asking you, I was like, wait, why does Instagram look like this now? Like, what do you mean? You mean I have to see these people's videos who I don't know? And you were like, yeah.
Because you see things that even if you're not following the person, people can pay for advertising and stuff that gets right on the For You page.
Yeah. And so kind of a question I have around the topic of community is, do you think you can actually get community from social media?
Oh, so
again, maybe 5 years ago, but not
like
today.
You were saying that you kind of gained community through social media years ago. I did. Like, I had a ton. I was in a bunch of different groups that were like worship guitar players, and that was a huge community. Sometimes toxic, but it was great. And I was in a filmmaker group, and there's a ton of photographers and filmmakers I call friends that I've never actually met in person because they live in Chicago or LA, but we talk over social media and we've FaceTimed or texted and we know each other. But that was years ago. I don't think that happens as much now.
I think it's interesting because I was reflecting on this topic last night and we were kind of chatting a little bit about it just to get our brains flowing. And I kind of felt like for many years, older people would ask me, what are your thoughts on social media as a young person? And again, I'd say the pros outweigh the cons. And there is a sense of community you can get on social media. But I think as I've gotten older, I've realized that sense of community is really actually a false sense of community. It's like, well, if I view this person's story, who they're telling me what's happening in their life, well, now I feel like I'm connected to that person who I haven't talked to in years.
Yeah.
But now they're kind of part of my community.
Yeah.
But we're really missing that relational aspect. Or you see these, like if you follow influencers, or even some of the podcasts I listen to are like influencers who became famous on TikTok or whatever. They let you into your life and you feel like you have a relationship with them when you don't know them. Yeah. They don't know you. There's really no community there, but it gives you a false sense of community because it says, oh, well, instead of saying, well, my friend who's going through this, I can be like, well, I've been watching this podcast and the people I'm watching, they're going through this. And we're saying that as people sitting here and having a podcast, knowing that, I think there's avenues to create community from that. But I often think it's not successful. Like you think, well, maybe my followers will create community. Well, how often does that actually happen? Yeah. So that's kind of more from just the content we're consuming. If I send a reel to someone, what is that doing for our relationship? Why don't I just text them or call them or stop by in person and say, hey, how are you doing?
But that also opens a huge question. What is relationship in 2024? Right. What's friendship in 2024?
But I think it's just one of those things where I think we're kind of teaching ourselves and I'm not going to say as a generation, because I'll go on a tangent about that, because guess what? Gen Zers are not the only ones using social media. Gen Zers aren't the only ones creating social media content. So for any older generation to be like, oh, well, what's that effect going to have on Gen Zs? It's going to have an effect, but also millennials, Gen Xs, boomers, y'all are doing it too. So I don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
I'm just going to put that out there because you're sometimes the ones creating these things that then you blame us for. But
hot take.
But anyways, I get fired up about that because as much as Gen Z has issues, they're my generation and I love them. Okay. So anyways, I just think that I don't even know where I was at, but I think we all are trying to figure out what relationships look like in 2024 because we're doing it based on like we're spending more time on social media than we are relationally with the people in our lives.
Yeah. And
I think a lot of people can relate. I think young people, but also older people and people in their, you know, the like 40s and 50s and whatever can relate to, hey, I don't really have friends.
Yeah.
I don't really have community. And why is that? Is that because social media is making it harder for us to create friends and to create community? I am an introvert, naturally. But I also have become an even bigger introvert, probably because of social media.
Well, and even like we were talking about last night, where like you were saying before you go to bed, you have to listen to something, like watch a podcast.
Yeah.
It's because it's noise. And
oh, yeah.
Sometimes people watch videos or have just noise in the background because it sounds like people are around to give a false sense of community, but they'll never actually go out into social situations because of social anxiety, or they just can't because they don't have a real community.
Yeah, I mean, like, where do you start?
Yeah.
Like, we've talked about that too, is like now that we're married, we don't feel like we have a community, but like, where do you go?
Yeah.
Where do you start? And how do you know that the people that you possibly are starting to have a community with are genuinely interested in who you are as a person and not just whatever you're involved in?
Yes.
But yeah, I agree. I think that is kind of a good transition of how does social media impact our view of like silence? Yes. Because you're right. Last night I didn't though, because I'm trying to.
I know. I noticed that.
I'm trying to get better. I listened to some calming instrumental music, which watch last week's episode if you want to know why I'm trying to do that. But yeah, like sometimes I'm not really interested in what's going on that video. A lot of times it's just like I stopped doing the reels before bed because that was way worse. But like sometimes it's just like a 10-minute vlog of some sort, and I'm not even watching it because I'm like getting ready for bed. Yeah. But it's the fact of there's noise behind me, and I think I'm just not used to silence anymore because I'm constantly hearing noise. And because when we work too, like if we're doing any computer work, like we'll listen to a podcast, and I feel like I just got used to that. And like I think the other thing for me is just having noise distracts my mind from anxious thoughts. Yeah. Even though the noise and where it's coming from is social media that worsens my mental health. It's like it distracts my mind, but my mind's constantly distracted. And that I just think that I know personally I need to figure out how to fix that, because the other thing too is like I often think about like with our parents' generation and things like that, like there were, or maybe our grandparents' generation, but there were things that they did as a kid that, there wasn't the science out to prove that it was wrong. Like I'm off the top of my head, like cigarettes, like it was the cool thing to do. Find out like, there's some health issues. And then our generation learns about it in elementary school. Right. And like, we don't have enough time to know what the effect of this short form content and social media in general, but that like short form constant noise, constant stimulation is going to have on our minds when we are 50 and then 70 years old. Like we don't know. Yeah. And I'm realizing like I'm starting to feel like, wow, what I'm doing now, it's going to have an effect on my brain because it already is. And I need to figure out a way to stop. So yeah, what do you feel like social media, what do you think the impact that social media has on mental health?
I don't think it's good.
I mean, increase of social media And there's also been an increase of mental health in the many
it
years.
Goes hand in hand.
You can't ignore that there's a connection.
I don't think that the pandemic helped anything.
No, because you were disconnected.
Yeah, I feel like that really started to...
I think that's a huge
I think that was the tipping point of where social media, where the pros and the cons started to switch, and the cons started to outweigh the pros. Because during the pandemic, we didn't see
social
people
media
really.
Was our community.
It was
and now we don't know how to we don't know how to take steps back.
Yeah. So everybody wanted to get back to normal life. But now that we're back in quote unquote normal life, nobody knows how to interact. At least younger people, they don't know how to interact normally without social media.
They're not in a natural. It's because you have so many people at your fingertips of like,
yes.
Oh, I can connect with these people, but then there's no necessarily follow through of. Mm-hmm. But yeah, you're not meeting people through people or at social gatherings, events. You're not just sitting next to the person next to you and being like, "Hi, I'm Camaryn."
Yeah,
you know?
And there's so many things since the I think that's really what's caused a lot of the issues today in mental health, because there's so many things now that are live streamed that you don't even have to get out off your couch to go. You can watch a concert from the safety of your household. You can watch a church service from the safety of your household.
I'm just going to put it out there. We're talking about all of this as people who also participate in these like unhealthy cycles. Like, we very much do participate in this. Mm-hmm. And the question for us is not like, it's not like, well, if you're part of this system, like you're a bad person or whatever, because we're part of it too. Mm-hmm. But it's like, how do we, especially as young people, like, what's the effect going to have on future generations? And how can we figure out, like, obviously, we're honestly only a couple years out from the pandemic. We're still recovering. Yeah. As much as we probably want to pretend that we're not, we are still recovering on how we view the world, our thought processes, our relationships, things like that. And so it's like, how do we move forward in a way where instead of continuing in a direction where it's detrimental for and destructive for our mental health and for our relationships, how do we move forward in a way that we can start to build those relationships naturally, to protect our mental health and to protect our minds so that they can last long, like a long time, and that we have good things to say that are not just informed by fake news that we see all over social media. Like, how do we take the steps forward? And I guess that's kind of what our point is as we talk about social media from our personal experiences. Not, well, you're a bad person if you participate in social media, because we do, but it's more, let's start to reflect on what can we do next. And I know for me, this conversation is making me think, what can I do that might not be the conventional of like, well, I should be on social media because of X, Y, and Z, but what can I do for me? And what can I do to better like my mind, and then hopefully to do something that moves society forward, or at least my relationships forward. And that's the challenge.
Yeah. And I think thinking as a creative, because this is the Everyday Creative Podcast, like, how can creatives start to shift the paradigm of making content that's not just social media content, which isn't bad. Making a reel isn't bad, and promoting yourself, but how can we start creating content and making it normal to not cut every 5 seconds, and how to not just grab people's attention with flashy clickbaity titles and thumbnails.
It's like so interesting though that you talk about that, and I want to get more into how social media impacts creatives, because that's, at the end of the day, that was the purpose of this, even though we went on some rants. But as a creative, what are your frustrations about social media, specifically to the creative world? Because we already talked a lot about your thoughts. And also, what do you appreciate about social media?
I think that I really appreciate social media as a creative because it's a place where I can put my work out. I think it's a place where all creatives can kind of showcase their work, if it's seen or not. They can
You have to do it for you in that case,
yeah. You can put your work out and showcase your portfolio without having to build a website and then possibly hire you or contact you for like a project or something based on just your portfolio work on your Instagram page. They're like, oh, I really like his photos or his video style. Let's contact him. So that's really cool that you can, it's a connection for a lot of people and creatives. I think it's done a lot of good for free advertising. I think trends are really frustrating sometimes. Speaking as a wedding photographer and filmmaker, the blurry photo thing, the blurry detail photo, just because film photography has taken off again in the past year or so. And I think Joe Greer kind of helped pioneer that. And I love Joe.
Really?
And, yeah.
Do you think people know him outside of just the
Instagram world?
Like my question, I guess, my follow-up question for that is the film photo trend is reaching everyone, not just people who were taking film photography. Do you think Joe influenced that, or I feel like he's more of a person that influences other film photographers?
Let me rephrase. Joe Greer has always been shooting film or been shooting film for a long time. So him posting on Instagram influenced a bunch of photographers that were already shooting film. And he's like the king among them. I don't know if this is the pivotal moment and the pivotal person that really shifted this, but this is what I noticed after this person posted this. Zendaya shoots film on a Contax T2, lovely camera. So then celebrities started picking up these vintage or new point and shoot 35 millimeter cameras. And then every college girl started getting a 35 millimeter point and shoot camera. Or they're slapping a filter on it and calling it film. It's trendy. But just because it has grain doesn't mean it's film and doesn't mean it's
also
good.
To put some context on that, I've watched Bryce take film photography. I've also been the person he takes film photography of, which is hard.
It's a long process.
You have to stand there because with the film camera you have, you autofocus it, correct?
No, there's no autofocus.
There's not autofocus.
Manual focus.
Yes.
Yeah.
Manual focus. Sorry.
Yeah.
I get those confused. But you've shown me how to do it.
Yeah.
And you have to get this line to line up, right?
It depends on which prism you have in there.
Okay. But it's a process.
Yeah.
And so not only is that a process, but you actually have to compose a photo because you don't edit a film photo,
you
right?
can, but there's less latitude for it.
Right. So you have to really compose it in that moment. And it's a whole emotional process too, because that photo might turn out, you don't know what it looks like right away. First of all, you might have to wait months to actually until you finish the roll and then get it developed. Yeah. So you don't know what it looks like. You don't know if it's going to turn out. Sometimes you lose photos. Sometimes you lose a roll. Sometimes there's beauties in there.
I just lost a roll recently, and that was tragic.
It was hard for you.
But
there's an art to film photography. And so when you have people that then just slap a filter on and say, film.
Yeah.
I'm taking film. And if you put a film filter on it, and you're you kind of make it known that it's a filter. But if you put a filter on it and then you're film from last weekend, that's not to say that there haven't been times where you and I haven't edited photos that we add grain to.
Oh yeah, I love grain. But
it's not the same as a film photo. Yeah. It has a different look. Sometimes you can get close, but it's still, there's a difference in it. And I think, but when you take an iPhone photo and then I have an Instagram post up where I took the same picture, but one with film and one digital. Digital that you edited.
Yes. And they look almost indistinguishable.
They do.
I guess it just comes down to like, don't lie too. Like, don't deceive.
Yeah. Don't be like, oh, I took these film photos when you took photos on your iPhone.
Yeah.
Because it minimizes the process of a person who takes film photography, who has committed time and energy to composing a photo.
Yeah.
And it minimizes the effort of the person you're taking a photo of, who has to stand there for... No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, that was a huge tangent, but yeah, the
we'll
blurry...
just do an episode on photography one day.
The blurry wedding photo trend, I don't get. It's fine though. Like, people love it, but they'll look back in 30 years and be like, why did I do this?
I think that's an interesting topic, and probably another topic to cover, of just trends in general, not just with creative things, but just in life. Because it's like, what about having things that like live throughout time?
Yeah.
Like, even when, this is a side note, but like an example, when we were looking for my engagement ring, I had two options that I narrowed it down to. One that was very classic and one that was a little more unique. But I thought, that unique one I like now.
Yeah.
But when I'm 50, will it still fit me? Versus this classic one, I feel like will grow and age with me well. Trends don't do that. And they don't age well.
I think about my mom's wedding dress. Like, it's got the big poofy, like, side thing.
I think my mom's was worse.
Probably. I think it was. But
the big bows in the back.
But it's like, oh yeah, that was trendy in the moment. But now we look back and yikes.
It's like anybody this is a side note again, but anybody whose mom got married in like the 80s to early 90s, you really can't do the whole like, I'm going to wear my mom's wedding dress in my wedding thing, because it's like, have you seen it? You know what I mean?
So yeah, trends can be fun.
Yeah.
But as a creative, at least I would like to think, what can I do that's just me?
Yeah.
I think this is another tangent. This is an episode full of tangents, but Divine Joy Randolph said something really great in her speech in the Oscars.
Did it inspire you?
It did inspire me. And I'm paraphrasing, but she said something like, I just have to be me. Like, that's good enough.
Yeah.
So as a creative, feel in your heart what's good and what you dream of. Don't try to be better than anybody else or be different. Like, you don't have to be different. Just be you, and that's different and good enough.
I like that. And I also think it's when you're putting out what you're creating on social media, don't do it for the views. Don't do it because it's trendy and you'll get popularity. Let your style, let your ability and what's uniquely yours speak for itself.
Yeah.
And so you might not get much traction from something.
Yeah.
But if you just keep pushing, which I kind of think was her message too. If you just keep being you, keep pushing, keep putting out the things that you're proud of, eventually someone will notice.
Yes.
And those people who do that, and their work is going to stand the test of time versus the people that blew up quickly but couldn't keep going.
Exactly.
And so, yeah, I like that a lot, because I think sometimes it's like there's also pressure, because it's like, oh, I know you felt this, where like, I need to be this great filmmaker now. Like, I'm going to miss my opportunity. But sometimes it's the people who just keep working at it who eventually that pays off.
I mean, Martin Scorsese's in like his 80s and he's still making films.
Right. So I think that I like that a lot, where it's not just about creating trends. It's not just about getting that attention, but it's doing something that represents your heart in what you're making.
My ideal dream world is where creatives and even people that find themselves not believing that they're creative post and make art that they're passionate about, no matter how many likes or comments or money they get from it. And I know that in this world we have to think about money because that's what drives the world, but I just want people to create because they want to.
Yeah.
And whenever they are feeling uninspired or can't, then they don't have to. And not just because they have a brand deal with a brand in which they have to make 7 reels this week.
Yeah.
They can just create because it's in their heart.
Yeah. Do you think it's possible to get people on board to that idea?
Mindsets would have to change.
Yeah.
Because everything is such a capitalistic mindset in America right now, at least. So shifting from I have to make this content, I have to do this for money to support my life.
Or to get to this place.
I think it's easier for people to have a career outside of the creative realm because then their livelihood isn't at stake.
We kind of talked about like all the questions I had, but I guess my question is just if you want to like kind of wrap up your thoughts on creating, of like, how do you think that social media is going to affect creating in the future, and what can we do now? I know you kind of touched on that and just kind of like, do you want to wrap it up in a pretty bow? Or
I don't want to sound pessimistic.
Yeah.
Because I am optimistic about the future, because Hoytema got up on that stage and he said to all you young people out there, there's this cool thing called celluloid film, like shoot on film. It's cool. So there's like hope that there's some people out there. There are some young people out there that I see on social media that are shooting film, that are making really meaningful stories. So I have hope, but I want more people to get on board, because if we don't get more people behind in-person real experiences and meaningful storytelling, then the theater arts are going to die. That concerts will go away, that the theater experience will go away.
So do you feel like Hollywood or whoever needs to start taking chances on some smaller, younger directors, filmmakers?
I think that would help. I think it's just like Cord Jefferson said, instead of putting all your money in a $200 million movie that
gives me chills.
Yeah. Instead of putting $200 million into one movie that you know is probably going to make money, with a director and 700 writers and 5 producers that you know will probably make money, and it's a studio baby and it'll be great. Maybe just take that $200 million and put it into whatever, like 20 smaller budget films of up and coming filmmakers that are telling really necessary, impactful stories.
I kind of wanted to wrap up our conversation and say that we know that neither one of us are gonna stop using social media. We're gonna be on social media. People in this world are gonna be on social media. It's just where we're at. It's almost like you said, it's essential for creatives. It's almost just a thing. It's relevant. You're gonna be on social media. And so we're having this conversation knowing that we're probably gonna stay on social media, knowing that we're not telling people to get off of social media. But I think it's important for us to have these honest conversations about the world, about people in 2024, about how social media might affect people now and future generations. Because if we just go through life not reflecting on these things, not being proactive or reactive to some of the things that are happening, then we don't have a say. And as consumers, we have power. We might not have all the power, but we have some power to make things better, to help people, to support people, and to have community. And we need to learn how to move forward and do that. And so our point of this conversation is not to say anything to offend. If you agree with us or disagree with us, that's okay. But we need to start as a society having these conversations and saying like, okay, this is where we're at. 4 years out from the pandemic, 4 years out from this switch in social media. What is next for us? And can the next step be something that moves us into a healthier direction and not a more destructive direction? And so how do we use social media in a healthy way? And how do we balance that with creating real relationships and protecting our minds and all of that? So that's the point of this conversation, is just to start reflecting. We'll probably have many conversations about social media, especially as we hopefully have guests on and things like that. But it has to be something where we're open to hearing different opinions and we're open to having conversation about it so that we can move forward in a better way for us.
So moving into our final segment, we are doing the game that we started last week of the Guess That Movie quote. And we've both chosen 5 new movies. And yeah, we're taking out the third point though, because
there was a little dispute about that last week. There's a possibility that I actually would have tied with Bryce. But you didn't give me one of the points because I told you not to. But now reflecting on it, I think I would have gotten that point.
So this is the tiebreaker episode.
No.
Don't
put that pressure on it. This is just, we can get 2 points per movie quote.
Yep, movie and who says it.
Yes. And I'm not feeling confident.
I'm not either. I gave you some hard movies. But I like those movies I gave you, so.
I was really having a hard time trying to find movies that I felt like I knew. Because last week's movies, I felt like I really knew.
Yeah.
These are like really kind of random movies that I gave you. But I was like, I've watched them enough to maybe know.
So the movies I gave you Hereditary. The Avengers.
Yes. Man of Steel. Tenet. And Whiplash. We've been talking about Tenet a lot recently.
I know. I've been super into Tenet.
And I gave you...
Oh.
You don't have...
Oh, sorry. I'll pull up the list.
I don't remember them.
You don't remember?
Not really.
You gave me Meet the Fockers, Barbie, The Greatest Showman, Always Be My Maybe, and Mamma Mia.
Yeah.
So, do you want to go first or do you want me to go first?
I'll go first.
All right.
Since you went first last time.
Okay.
No.
Oh. Sorry.
I love you.
They'd have to stop judging people and actually start doing something with their lives.
I don't even know. Is it Barbie? No. Can I get a second guess? You don't have to give me a point.
Okay.
But if I guess if I still guess the person who said it once I figure out the movie, can I get a point? So it's not Barbie.
Nope.
I don't think it's Mamma Mia. I don't think it's... You're really... See, last week, I will say this.
I gave things away.
I could read your face. I can't read your face. But now you're going to be thinking about it, which means I can read your face. Is it The Greatest Showman?
It is.
It's Zendaya. No.
It's not.
Who is it?
It's his wife, Charity.
Oh. I was torn between Barbie and The Greatest Showman because Barbie kind of has the message of like judgment.
Yeah.
And, but then also The Greatest Showman, it was like kind of like the odd people of that of society coming together. And that makes sense. So I get 0 points. Wow, we're starting off strong today, folks. All right.
I'm not feeling confident.
I'd rather die drunk, broke at 34, and have people at a dinner table talk about me than live to be rich and sober at 90 and nobody remembered who I was.
Whiplash.
Correct.
That is... It's Miles Teller's character, but his last name...
I only have a first name.
What is his name? What's his last name? What's his name?
I'm going to look up... So you said
Neiman is his last name.
But you said it's Miles Teller's character?
Yeah.
All right, let me see.
Neiman is his last name.
Well, I don't have a last name, so I'm looking up what character he was. Yes, it is Andrew.
Andrew Neiman?
I don't know what the last name
Lehman?
is. There is something like that. All right.
Okay. Does that give me one or two? Okay, cool. We gotta watch that movie. It's so good. All right. So
it's about music, correct?
yes, it's by the director of La La Land.
It's really hard because a lot of the quotes had to do with like music, and I was like, well, that's gonna give it away.
Well, they either probably had to do with music or they had a lot of profanity. I don't care if you slept with hundreds of men. You're my mom, and I love you so much.
That's Mama Mia.
Who says it?
The daughter. I don't know her name.
Yeah.
But it's the daughter.
Yeah.
Obviously, to her mom. You handed me that one.
So you get 2 points.
Mamma Mia is one of those movies that you like, it's kind of nostalgic and you kind of like love to watch it. And then you rewatch it and you go, this is kind of like whoever wrote this was on something.
Well, you know that, yeah, it is
But
weird.
you don't remember those parts until you rewatch it.
So Mamma Mia came out the same weekend that The Dark Knight came out in 2008.
Okay.
So I was thinking, because whenever you told me Mamma Mia, I was just thinking about all that. And you know how like Oppenheimer and Barbie had Barbenheimer? What if they had, so Mamma Mia and The Dark Knight, it would have been like Dark Mama or Mama Night or Dark Me. I don't know. But
They should have
should've.
done that. They should have done that. But maybe things weren't so competitive back then.
The Dark Mama weekend.
But maybe things weren't as competitive back then. Okay. All right.
Okay, I'm excited.
If it's all the same to you, I'll have that drink now.
That's so good. That's Loki from the Avengers.
Yeah.
What's the sign for sour milk? Because this tastes a little funky.
What?
What's the sign for sour
All right.
milk? Because this tastes a little funky.
So, is that the Meet the Fockers?
It is.
Is it like the main guy's character? Or is it not? Isn't he drinking like breast milk?
Yeah.
Or is it like cat breast milk?
No, it's breast milk.
It's him. It's the main dude. The funny guy.
Greg.
Yeah, Greg.
So that's 2 points.
Thank you. All right. So this is 2 people.
Okay. Oh boy.
I did everything they told me not to do, but it didn't work. I'm happy it didn't work. And then the next person says, you tried to kill me.
Oh, I know exactly what that's from. That's from Hereditary.
Yeah.
It's the mom, Annie, talking to Peter. That's such a great movie. Ari Aster, watch Hereditary. Actually, don't watch Hereditary if you don't like horror. I'm
not watching it.
It's so good. His follow-up, Midsommar, so good.
And who's in that?
Florence
Pugh. She has to get brought up in every episode. 4 episodes in, Florence, we are going to mention you every time until you get on this podcast. You know what I was thinking?
What?
You know what celebrity that I think we could actually realistically get on the podcast?
Florence Pugh?
No.
Oh, who?
Simu.
We could probably get Simu.
He says yes to everything. And I honestly think that if we could like get in contact with him, you know, Asian bro to Asian bro, right?
Yeah.
I feel like we could get him, on the podcast.
That's a goal for 2025.
Also, there have been many people, which not me, but I see it, but many people who have said you look like Simu.
Yeah.
If you feel like Bryce looks like Simu, let us know in the comments.
I've had people come up to me in public and tell me I look like Simu. I don't see it really.
I can see.
It's such a huge compliment.
I can understand it. They have slightly different features. I would say
he's also not Korean.
But his face shape's a little bit different, but in like eye shape and all of that. But I can see there's feature. It's the nose.
Maybe
he has a bit bigger, like flatter of a nose. I'm really sorry if I'm offending Simu out there, but I'm just saying I can understand.
Simu's my man crush. I love him.
I know. You had like, never mind, I won't expose you like that.
What, pictures of him shirtless on my phone because that was my
That's your
inspiration?
workout inspo. I just think he's a good person.
He is. He seems like a great person. Him and his girlfriend are so cute.
I would love to get them both on the podcast. So everybody comment Simu's name, like tag him in everything that we do.
Oh, yes.
So that we can get him on the pod.
All right.
Anyways, whose turn is it?
My turn.
Okay.
Somebody up there has got it in for me. I bet it's my mother.
Is it in Always Be My Maybe? Or is it in Meet the Fockers? Can you help me?
Yeah. Neither of them.
Neither of them.
Yeah.
This is a nightmare.
Yeah, neither of them. If I give you the movie, you can still get 1 point if you guess who said it.
Okay.
Mamma Mia.
Did Meryl Streep's character say it? Because that wouldn't make sense because her mom's still alive.
Donna.
That doesn't add up, though.
Well, that's what IMDb says.
So I guessed it right.
You did. So you get 1 point.
But here's the dealio. Here's where I want to put in, I think I should get, that needs to be forgiven. Because in Mamma Mia 2, her mom shows up. Her mom's not dead. Isn't that confusing?
It is confusing. I don't know. I didn't see Mamma Mia 2.
I'll just do. I watched it the other day when you were gone.
I know.
Because I know you wouldn't watch it with me, so. All right. What's happened, happened. Which is an expression of fate in the mechanics of the world. It's not an excuse to do nothing. Ooh. Bryce might be stoned.
What's happened, happened. It's not an excuse. Is it Man of Steel?
Is that your final
Yeah,
guess?
that's it.
No. If I tell you what movie it's from,
Yeah.
you can get another point. It's from Tenet.
Dang it. I mean, you can barely hear the audio in 90% of that movie.
Is it a Christopher Nolan?
It is. Is it the protagonist?
I'll give you one more guess.
Neil? Mm-hmm. Okay.
I give it to you.
Okay. But if I win...
Then I take it away.
Okay.
Because you gave me the Mamma Mia one. You pick out the weirdest quotes. You realize that.
I was arrested for tax evasion, but that's another movie.
That's The Greatest Showman. No. Please. This is the worst.
I was arrested for tax evasion, but that's another movie.
Is it Meet the Fockers or The Greatest Showman?
Neither.
Are you kidding me?
It's neither of those.
Barbie.
Yes.
And that is the creators of Barbie says it.
Ruth. So I'll give you 1 point.
You didn't give me the movie, I guess, after.
Well, after you guessed other ones.
Waiting on the Big Guy.
That's the Avengers.
Who says it?
I honestly don't know. Waiting on the Big Guy. Is it Tony Stark?
Is that your final guess?
That's my final guess. It's wrong.
It's a waitress to Steve Rogers.
Is that in the deleted scene?
No, I don't think so. It could have been. I don't know. But it didn't say deleted scene, or at least I didn't notice
That's
it.
fine. So 1 point. All right. I'm gonna look.
Hey, you knew it was from Avengers.
I knew it was from Avengers.
You're already beating me at this point, so because I keep getting like 0.
If it's yellow, let it mellow. If it's brown, flush it down. Oops, forgot my own rule.
That's Meet the Fockers.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the dad saying it. Like her dad.
Yes. Bernie.
Yeah, the guy from who played the guy in the Killers. That's how my brain works. I don't know names, but you might want to step back a little bit. Maybe a little bit more.
Man of Steel. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Superman says that.
Yeah. Yeah, whatever. No, yeah.
That movie makes me cry. Mm-hmm. There's so many lines in that movie. A very underrated superhero movie.
What do I have left? I don't have Meet the Fockers is out. Mamma Mia is out. Mm-hmm. You haven't done any of Always Be My Maybe.
Nope.
You've done one of The Greatest Showman.
And one of Barbie.
One of Barbie.
Yep. No one ever made a difference by being like everyone else.
That's Barbie. Is it not Barbie? That's The Greatest Showman. Can I still get that point?
You get 1 point if you tell me who said it.
Is it Zendaya's character? Is it Zach's character? Is it Hugh Jackman's character? Okay, here's the dealio. If you would have quoted any of the song lyrics, easy peasy mac and cheesy. Because I listen to that soundtrack often. But I don't remember the dialogue. But we're going to watch that here soon.
Yes, we are. After we watch Tenet.
No, that's not what you said to me yesterday.
Okay.
Okay. It's heartening. Heartening? I really pronounced the T there. It's heartening. That sounds wrong.
Heartening?
Yeah, heartening to see so many strange new faces here today. I know my mom would be very touched and probably a little suspicious.
Hereditary. Annie says that.
Yeah.
Welcome to Burger King. Flame grilling since 1954. Can I interest you in a Whopper? You can get it to go if you want to eat it in your car and cry.
It's from Always Be My Maybe, and that's the Burger King guy.
Yeah, that was actually an easy second point.
Yeah.
All right.
I was there to push people beyond what's expected of them. I believe that's an absolute necessity.
That's in Whiplash, Fletcher says that. J.K. Simmons' character.
What's the last name?
And his last name Fletcher?
What's the first name then?
Whoever J.K. Simmons plays.
Yeah, Terrence. Okay.
I am the son of a mother and the nephew of a female aunt. Some of my best friends are Jewish.
Well, I guess what's left is Always Be My Maybe, right? Wait, you already did both of Meet the Fockers, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then it has to be, you've already done both of Mamma Mia, you've already done both of The Greatest Showman.
Mm-hmm.
So it's Always Be My Maybe.
Is that your guess?
Yes.
No.
What? It's in Barbie?
Mm-hmm.
Who? Oh, is it Will? Is that his name?
Yeah.
Is it his
It is.
character? Do I get a point for
Yeah,
that?
you get a point.
You've grown stronger here than I ever could have imagined. The only way to know how strong is to keep testing your limits.
That is Man of Steel.
Mm-hmm.
That is Jor-El.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I should have told you. Rich people are done with fancy clothes. Now it's all $4,000 t-shirts that look like they were stolen off the homeless.
That's Always Be My Maybe.
Yeah. Who says it?
I don't know. Is it Ali Wong's
It
character?
is Ali Wong's
Okay,
character.
cool.
Which I've just now realized a lot of the things that Ali Wong has been in, well, I guess just two of the things, Beef and Always Be My Maybe, there's Burger King in it.
Interesting.
Yeah. I think it's just coincidental.
I don't know if I've ever actually eaten from Burger King.
We're going to Burger King.
No.
Oh, it's so good. Flame grill.
I don't know.
Whoppers.
My family can fact check me on that, but we didn't eat fast food growing up. So I know I've been to McDonald's a few times, but I don't think I've ever been to Burger King.
You gotta go. We gotta go Arby's.
I've been there.
Arby's is great.
Okay, last one for you. We all like to believe we'd run into the burning building, but until we feel that heat, we can never know.
That's Tenet. That's the protagonist. No. Who was it?
Do you want to guess again? I'll give you one more chance.
Okay.
Unless you get it.
Yeah. Michael Caine's character, which is also named Michael.
It says Faye.
Oh, then no, I was way off.
Okay. All right, let's do a little bit of counting.
Ready? 3, 2, 1. 13.
17. You know, I didn't lose as badly as I thought.
Good
but
job.
you were also very generous.
Good job.
This week was rough for me, but next week will be worse.
Oh.
If we keep doing this game.
But thanks for watching.
But
yeah.
yeah. What movie is that from?
How I Met Your Mother. Take a shot every time Robin says but.
Anyway. I don't know if we could do TV shows for this game.
No, I don't think so. There's too much.
Too hard. So, thanks for watching.
Yep.
Episode 4 of the Everyday Creative Podcast. Make sure to like and subscribe. Give us a review if you're listening on Spotify and
Apple Podcasts. Follow us on Instagram.
Give us a like. And by the way, I'm going to keep asking all of you guys to comment things. So just do it so then I don't have to keep asking.
Oh, yeah.
Because I honestly want to know what you guys think is funny, what you want to see. If you have any ideas for movie reviews, games, things like that.
Oh, yeah.
We're just going to keep doing the finger guns over here. But yeah.
Thank you.
Next week.
See ya.
On the Everyday Creative Podcast.
Good job.
What's for dinner?
Pasta.